In this video, we will look at the simple loops. Yeah. Now, in C++, there are three types of loops. There are while loops, do while, for loops. So in this video, we're going to only look at the concept of while loops. Now, whenever you see me putting double slashes and then, I don't know, just some words in there, note that anything that I have after double slashes, this is what we call comments in C++. So I can write anything in plain English with after the double slashes, and those specific things that I write are ignored by the compiler so that we can, again, comment our codes. And we'll talk about comments at some point later on. Now, so let's take a look at how can we create while loops and why do we need it? Now, think about it this way. Sometimes as I write my code, I require to have a specific block of code to be repeated over and over and over and over and over again, right? So you might want to ask yourself, when should I make use of loops in my code? So whenever you want to find, or whenever you want to create a specific block of code that you need to repeat, this is the time where to use loops. Loops are very important concepts in C++, so make sure that you understand it, make sure that you know how to use it. Now, so assume I would like to create now specific code, and this specific code that I want to do, I would like it to print hello, let's say 5 times. Okay, so how do I do it? So can I do cout hello? Then I can do cout hello. Then cout hello, right? That's a lot of work, huh? That's a lot of work to actually, and this is only 3 times. So I'm gonna do it 5 times. All right. Oh, someone's gonna tell me, oh, just copy paste it, professor, copy paste it. Like, you know what? I'm not gonna do that either. What about if you want to do 20 hellos? What about 30 hellos? What about 100 hellos? Are you gonna do just copy paste? That's horrible code, right? So I should have a single statement that does hello, but then write the code with loops that will allow me to say hello maybe 10 times or 5 times as I wish. Okay? So let's take a look. Now, for us to be able to do loops in general, there are 3 fundamental things that you require to build a loop. 3 fundamental things. What are those things? Well, take a look. There is something called the initialization, and I'll explain what those are. Okay? And so the first thing I'll talk about initialization, and then the next thing that you need to do is the Boolean statement that you have to build. And then the third thing that you have to build, or that you have to have within a loop, is what we call the update action. Those 3 things you require as you build your loop. Okay, now, what is this initialization? What is this Boolean statement? What is this kind of update action? Well, and how do you come up with them? So assume, as I mentioned earlier, I would like to create a loop statement, and this loop statement will allow me to print hello 5 times, for example, right? Now, so what is the initialization? What is the Boolean statement? What is the update action? So what I'll have in here, this is the initialization. I'll create a variable, and I'll call it count variable. I will initialize it to 0, and you'll see why did I do that in a bit. So I'll have here a loop, and in this loop, I will say while count is, let's say, less than 10, as long as count has, oops, let's make it 5. Okay, I wanted to print it 5 times. So I'll say, as long as the value that I have in count is less than 5, I'll put up the block here, and then I'll put here the statement that I would like to repeat. So in other words, you need to think, what is the block that I need to repeat? And the block that you need to repeat, it must exist within the block of the while. Okay. Again, the block that you need to repeat must exist within the block of the while. Now, This specific statement, again, I want it to print 5 times. Now take a look at this statement. It says, as long as count is less than 5, remember, this condition will give me true. Count is 0. 0 is less than 5. So this is true. Now, as long as this condition is true within the while statement, the while block that I have in here will be executed. Once the statement that you have in the while becomes false, it will stop. The loop will stop, will be terminated, and you'll be out of the loop. Again, once the condition that I have in the loop here becomes false. But if you take a look at this, now this statement has the count has the value 0. This value 0 is less than 5. This is true. When in the world will this statement become false? Well, if you take a look at it right now, take a look, right? So it will never become false. And let me prove it to you. So if I compile and run this code as is, it will compile, it will run. Take a look what I get. Okay, come on. Take a look. It just keeps going, saying hello, 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 forever. Hello, forever. Never stops. So imagine someone just tells you hello, 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 hello. That's so annoying, right? So now it's not terminating. I need to close this. Um, that's not what I want. Again, this is happening because this condition is always, always true. Now, how did I, and this is what I'm missing right now, the update action. This update action that I have, it must be inside the loop. In the block of the loop, I want to come up with a statement where I can get this statement to become false at some point. Now, based on the logic of my program, here I only want to print hello 5 times, which basically means this variable count, I can increment it each time I print the message hello. So every time that I print the message hello, this statement, or I need to increment the value that I have in count by 1 so that this statement becomes false. How do I increment the value that I have in count? Well, if I do count equals to count plus 1, this will allow me to update the value that I have in count. Okay, so if I compile and run this statement, okay, I will get count printed 5 times. Take a look. Now I got hello printed 5 times and then it stops. Cool. Now there's another way to, or a shortcut to the statements. If I need to increment the value that I have in count by 1, I can simply say count plus plus. I don't need to say count equals to count plus 1, but I can say count plus plus, and that will increment the value that I have in count by 1. Okay, let's again go through this code again. I have the variable count. I initialized it to 0. This is my initialization. Now here, I have this condition within the while loop. I'm saying while the value that I have in count is less than 5. Will this condition be true if I have the count equals to 0? Yes, it is. So now, in this case, this condition will be true. It will print hello. Okay. And then it'll increment count by 1. So now count becomes 1. Is 1 less than 5? Yes, it is. So it will execute hello, and then it will increment count by 1. So now count becomes 2. Is 2 less than 5? Yes, it is. It will print out count. Increment count by 1. Count becomes 3. Is 3 less than 5? Yes, it is true. It will print out hello. It will increment count by 1. Now count becomes 4. Is the condition still true? Is 4 less than 5? Yes, it is. It will print hello again. It will increment count. So now the count becomes 5. Is this condition true? Is 5 less than 5? The answer is no, it's false. So it will exit the loop. Sounds good? So let's compile and run this code again. Let's take a look and see it in action. Now it will say hello, 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 hello 5 times. Someone watching this video asking, oh my God, I'm confused about something. And that's something that I'm confused about, sir, is that how in the world did you know, or did you come up with saying count and you initialized count to 0? why can't we initialize count to 1? Can I? Okay. Can I? I can. So let's take a look. If I leave it at 0 to start with, and let me print the value of count here. I'm saying cout count, and then I'll say here hello. Okay, so I'll print out the value that I have in count, say hello, so that we can see the value that I have in count before I increment it. Once I increment it, it will check the condition and so on. Okay, so let's take a look. If I compile and run this code, it will give me the value of count starting from what? Starting from 0. Let's take a look. 0, hello, 1, hello, 2, hello, okay, up to 4. So again, I built my logic where I can start from 0 and then I end up 4. Will that give me 5 rounds? Yes, it will. Because I'm after now, all what I'm after is, in my logic, is to print the string hello 5 times only. All right, can I have count instead to be 1? Well, yes, you can for the initialization, but things will have to also change in the condition if you do so. So if I compile and run this code, we'll take a look. So I'll have, 1, and instead of saying 0 hello, it will say 1, 2, 3, 4, but now I'm missing 1 hello. If I want 5 hellos, right? So now, how can I fix this? Now, how about if I change this condition? Instead of, I cannot say count less than 5 anymore because I want also the 5th hello. So I can say while count is less than or equals to 5, and that will do the job for me. It will print 5 hellos again. Sounds good. Now, what if I need the number of hellos will be based on an input that I will get from the user? Can I do that? Well, you can do anything, right, that you want. Of course, sir, I can do anything. Cool. So how do you do it? So what if I say enter the repeat number? Let's call it repeat number. And then I will have a variable, an integer, I'll call it repeat. And then I'll have here cn repeat. Now, the input that I will get from the user, now instead of saying while count is less than or equals to 5, I will say while count is less than or equals to repeat. This is the value, again, that I will check against, which is the input that I get from the user. And that will give me, based on the number that I get from the user, I will have the number of hellos printed out. That's the only change that I've done. So instead of saying less than 5, it'll be less than or equals to the repeat value that I get from the user. Okay, so let's take a look, compile and run. Okay, so let's assume I need it to repeat 10 times. 10 times. There you go. So from 1 all the way to 10. So I have 10 hellos printed out. Cool. So now I can also change this code so that I can, well, design my while initialization condition and update action so that I can possibly start from the repeat and then end with the value count. So I can decrement the value of count by 1 as well. So I can also design it in that specific different way. So how about if you have your attempt to have the same while or use the while, build the same logic, but I would like to start from the highest number, for example, from the repeat value, and decrement by 1 until you reach 1. Okay, so what you'll have to do is change the initialization, and you need to change the condition and the update action accordingly so that you can start again from the highest. So instead of saying here, take a look. Here I'm starting, let's say, from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what I would like to do is start from, let's say, in this case, the value that is entered from the user, which is in this case 10. So say 10 hello, 9 hello, 8 hello, 7 hello, 6 hello, all the way until it reaches 1. Okay? So this will be your participation exercise, which basically you need to look at how can I do the initialization, the condition, and the update action, all right? So that we can decrement by 1 instead of incrementing by 1. Okay. The decrement operator, by the way, so if you need to decrement, it will not be count plus plus, of course. To decrement, it will be count minus minus for decrementation. So to decrement by 1, or you can say, for example, count equals to count minus 1, which is not a common approach to decrement. Usually within a loop, as you decrement, we'll say count minus minus. Okay? So is this clear with the while loop and the participation exercise, what you have to do? Okay, remember, in each loop that you do, there's an initialization, Boolean statement, and the update action that you have to consider. Boolean statements, building them is your signature in terms of how you do it. All right, have a wonderful day. And don't forget